Brian, we got a little bit of men's hockey, a little bit of women's hockey. We got Chris Dacey coming in live in studio. So we got all the Quinnipiac sports for you today, as we always do. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Studio 125. It's 9:30 Eastern, and you know what that means. Sports Paws is on the air. I'm MJ Baird.
And I'm Brian Schwartz. MJ, we have a jam-packed show tonight, so let's get right to it, starting with women's volleyball.
That's right. On Friday, the Bobcats traveled to New Rochelle, New York to take on the Iona College Gales. Iona has only won 2 matches in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference and was not able to pick up its third hosting Quinnipiac. The Gales did win the second set after dropping the first to the Bobcats, but 9 kills from both Allison Lee and Jen Coffey propelled the Bobcats to win in 4 sets. Freshman setter Maria Panzari recorded 37 assists in the match, following her into the number 4 slot into the nation in assists, 11 shy of 1,000 for the year.
And Manhattan upset Quinnipiac 3-2. The Bobcats won the first set by 3, but lost the next 2. Quinnipiac then came back to tie it up at 2 sets apiece, forcing the decisive 5th set. But the Jaspers prevailed and took the 5th set 15-13. Jen Coffey led the Bobcats. In kills with 16, Allison Lee led the team with 10 blocks. Natalie Alechko had 13 digs for Quinnipiac. The Bobcats are now 9-3 in the MAC and still in second place in the conference. Q30's very own John Franklin caught up with Claire Canuse of the women's volleyball team to talk about her career debut. John?
A dream came true for the Quinnipiac volleyball team this Saturday as it beat Marist in dramatic fashion to take over second place in the MAC. But one player's dream in particular came true, getting on this court for the first time.
A concussion has kept sophomore Claire Canuse off the volleyball court for almost a calendar year, but she was able to make her debut in one of the most historic games in the team's history.
I didn't expect it, to be honest, but yeah, to be able to come right out and bang 5 kills out of the way and help the team tremendously. For the girls in the court giving me the opportunity to do that, it was really all of them and all their help that helped me get 5 kills. So by all means, I didn't do it by myself.
But Canuse attributes her timely success to the support of her team around her.
They've been so supportive through my whole journey with my injury, so it's to be able to get out there on the court and feel that same support out there. It was just like there's never been a feeling where I haven't felt unsupported, so it made it so much easier to be out there with the girls because I knew that it wasn't a problem with them. So
most teams wouldn't know how to react to such a dramatic win, but Canuse has sent the message to her team that this is just a building block for the rest of the season.
We definitely have to take it one step at a time, one game at a time, 1 point at a time, because it's definitely not easy, and looking too far ahead of it, you can get a little bit carried away. So, we emphasize definitely 1 game at a time and taking care of business the right way.
Canuse epitomizes the golden comeback after a dark beginning in sports, and she wants to send a message to those who are struggling through a similar fate.
I think it's based on your perspective and how you kind of turn the situation around and look at it in a positive way. And once you get the opportunity to, I guess, come out of that injury, it's just, you have to be thankful of what got you there and the vibe that you had throughout the whole time and dealing with it, and just remember how you got there.
John Franklin, Q30 Sports.
Thanks, John. Well done, as always. Switching gears a little bit now, let's talk about the women's rugby team. They're coming off their first loss of the season and third loss in as many seasons against Central Washington. Lucky for them, though, they got a chance to redeem themselves this week against Castleton. And redeem themselves they did, defeating the first-year varsity program from Castleton 213-0. Yes, you heard me right, 213-0. This marks the biggest margin of victory in Quinnipiac rugby history, breaking the record of 130 points back in the 2012-13 season against Hofstra. Brian, 213 points.
That's an area code, MJ.
As a matter of fact, it is. It's that Los Angeles, California area code. Shout out to Shannon McHarrison, one of our own from Q30, studying abroad over there. But anyway, back to the show. Rugby has one more home game before the end of the postseason, but guess you couldn't really call it a home game. This game is going to be played down the road at Southington High School, and it's actually going to be their senior night. If you think about it, it's kind of tough for a team to have their senior night, but it's not actually at home. But, Brian, that will be the case for the Bobcats.
Yes, it will.
Another Bobcat fall sport played a big conference game this weekend, and that is Becca Maine's field hockey team.
Well, we got field hockey taking on Temple, heading down to North Philadelphia. We'll take it straight to the of those scores. It's 1-0 Quinnipiac. Then Temple's Patty Coons hits it on net, and Maddie Merton puts it home, and now we have a 1-1 tie. On to the second half. Temple's Sarah Kerr takes a shot that gets right past Quinnipiac's goalie Olivia Golini, and it's 2-1 Temple. Now, still in the second half, Sarah Kerr throws it in the middle, somehow gets by everyone, and Maddie Merton scores again, and Temple would go on to win 3-2. Quinnipiac lost to Holy Cross 2-1 in Worcester, Massachusetts. Dana Barlow opened up the scoring with her 6th goal of the season. Audra Kinney tied the game with 15 minutes to go for Holy Cross with her 1st goal of the year. Then just 5 minutes into overtime, Emily Lopretti notched her 6th goal of the season to give Holy Cross a 2-1 lead. The Crusaders went on to win by that score 2-1. The Bobcats fall to 4-11 and 3-2 in the Big East. Well, it's time to take a quick break, but when we come back, women's hockey played a home-and-home series with Boston College over the weekend. Stay tuned to find out how they did.
Plus, myself, as well as the men's hockey beat reporter team, we took the trip to Agganis Arena in Boston on Saturday. Could the Bobcats avenge their loss from last season at the hands of the Boston University Terriers? Don't go anywhere. Sports Paws rolls on.
The freshmen this year have stepped in and really just eliminated that problem, doing the right plays at the right time.
I mean, it certainly seems like an uphill battle for this team, but Tricia Fabi is one of the best coaches at this university.
Bobcats hosting Arizona State. We'll start with this power play.
But she's strong. Good Lord, I saw her lifting one time. She could squat 3 of me. Like,
Oh, well, 7 of me then.
Good evening and welcome to Sports Paws.
In the end, we're here to win the championship this year.
Jess Fontaine now has that. She's going to take a ripper off the post, but she's going to come back.
And my number one, hold your applause, Bobcats fans, is Quinnipiac.
All right, Victoria, you know what time it is. It's top 5 plays of the week.
My favorite time.
I could really go for a Ray and Mike sub right now.
Come to Ray and Mike's and try our Philly chicken and cheese for just over $4. Giant cheesesteak subs and mouth-watering boar's head sandwiches for as low as $4.75. Q-Cash accepted just a mile down the road on Whitney, here at Ray and Mike's.
Sticking with us here on Sports Paws. On Saturday night, Cassandra Turner's squad traveled to Boston College. Let's check out the tape. Take it away, MJ.
That's right, Brian. Yes, they did. Up at Conte Forum in Boston, Massachusetts, pretty close to my hometown, Brian. So nice to see the Bobcats traveling up. They are the number 3 Bobcats versus the number 6 Eagles. That was before this week. The polls obviously do come out today on a Monday. And this game, really just the story of the game. Brian, I think this is actually the second game. This is where Quinnipiac hosted Boston College. So I believe this is you if you just want to pick up where we left off.
Well, let's get it. It's a 1-0 BC lead, and Taryn Bumgard slap shot tapped from the goal line. It's a 1-1 tie right here. Still in the second period now, McKenna Newkirk scores past Sydney Rossman, and it's 2-1 Boston College. Now into the third period we go. Boston College, Caitlin Laundrie on the Quinnipiac power play. She has a shorthanded goal, assisted by McKenna Newkirk. It's 3-1 Golden Eagles. Now into the third period we go. Boston College's Kenzie Kent scores, assisted from Angie Anastas, and it's 4-1 a Boston College win.
That's right, Brian. As I was saying, it was on Friday night the Bobcats went up to Conte Forum in Boston. Goaltending, definitely the story of this game. 0-0 the score. Sydney Rossman, 38 saves, and Katie Burt for the Eagles, 23 saves. Looks like we do have the tape. Let's take a quick look at it. As I said before, this is up at Conte Forum. I'm just kidding, Brian. This is the same highlight we just saw. As you did say, the Bobcats go on to win the game 4-1. I think we finally have game 1 for you, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the technical difficulties. as I said before, it looks like we're having some issues, Brian. We don't have that highlight for you, but 0-0 the score. Both teams tied. Sid Rossman picks up another shutout, even though the game does end up 0-0. So that is the final score to Game 1. As you said, Game 2, Quinnipiac wins 4-1. But also, the men's team did play this weekend, Brian. I think you got some footage from us from UConn.
We do. It's the men's hockey team traveling up to UConn. Excuse me, they are in here at the TD Bank Sports Center at UConn. First period, let's take it right away. Andrew Tavener avoids a defender, and he sends this goal home. It's a 1-0 Quinnipiac lead. Still in the first period, Craig Martin scores off the second effort here on the pass by Tim Clifton, as we see right here. And now it's 2-0 Bobcats. Now over to the second period. It's still 2-0 Bobcats. Now over to the second period. We have a scrum in front of the net with the puck loose, but UConn's Spencer Noss on the power play finds a way to put it in.
How does that puck get through, Brian? I can't explain it.
I don't know, but that cuts the lead to 2-1 Quinnipiac. Still in the second period, UConn's pass is stolen by Quinnipiac, shot saved, and the rebound taken by Thomas Aldworth to score, and it's 3-1 Bobcats. Initial shot by UConn now, saved by Chris Truhl, and then the rebound is put back in by Carl Elmire. It's a 3-2 Bobcats lead now. Still in the second, it's Brogan Rafferty. So he gets the pass, skates in, he gets it past the goalkeeper for UConn. Now 4-2 Quinnipiac. Second period, Connor Clifton fires this one top shelf on the power play. Proves to be enough for Quinnipiac in the end as they take care of UConn.
Brian, I think we're going to see a couple more clips from that game later on in this show. So if you like those clips, be sure to stick around and see some more.
Yes.
That is right. And after that game, Q30's own Victoria Ritigliano, she has a little bit of a highlight for you. We'll let you take it from here.
There was an uncommon hush in the rink when Quinnipiac defenseman Chase Prisky went down early in the first period of the Quinnipiac men's ice hockey game Wednesday versus UConn. After being nailed headfirst into the boards by UConn's Maxim Letinov, Prisky did not come back into the game. Head coach Jerome Pecknold said this loss early on made the team a little shaky moving forward.
We were scrambling a little bit, so we had to just figure it out, and obviously he's on our power play and our penalty. He does so many things for us, so we just juggled a little bit.
Quinnipiac was still able to find the back of the net despite losing the top defensive point provider early on. 5 different players scored for the Bobcats in Quinnipiac's 5-2 win over UConn, and 12 different players registered points, including first goals of the year for both defensemen Brogan Rafferty and Connor Clifton. Pecknold said this depth is crucial for coming out on the winning end this season.
That's how we're going to have to win this year. We got to find a way to score goals in a lot of different ways, and I thought we did that. And kind of similar to last year's team. We certainly maybe don't have quite as much firepower, but we got good players, and I thought we really played to our identity, and I got rewarded for that.
With 43 shots on net throughout the game, Pecknold said the team played a more mindful game than it has to start the season.
I thought we were more honest tonight. I think the first 4 games we lacked a little bit of honesty at times. Not all the time, but I just think, we just expected things to go our way and expected good bounces to happen, and that's not how life works. You need to work and compete and make sacrifices, and if you do that, you will get luck, you will get puck luck, you will get good bounces.
With the starting goaltending spot still up in the air for the Bobcats, Chris Truhl played like he had something to prove, stopping 29 of UConn's 31 shots throughout the game. Despite not knowing who's going to be starting in net each game for the Bobcats, Chris Truhl said there really isn't a pressure to perform.
Anytime we get to come back and play at home, it's more just fun to play hockey. The guys won Saturday, so we're just trying to keep the roll going. That was all it really was.
These saves included 2 shorthanded breakaway attempts from the Huskies and diving save after seemingly endless save. Truhl said while there isn't necessarily pressure on him in the game, there is some in the days leading up to it.
There's pressure that up until the last day, I don't know whether I'm going to play. So it keeps me going, just kind of keeps me to keep my head down and make whatever saves I can in practice so I can be ready for the game.
After the game, the 2 teams came together at center ice to honor the late Bruce Marshall, the former coach of the Huskies. Quinnipiac will travel to Boston on Saturday to take on Boston University, with or without Prisky in its starting lineup. This is Victoria Rutigliano, Q30 Sports.
Thank you, Victoria. Also, too, if our viewers want to catch anything more about either men's hockey team or either men's or women's hockey team or anything else Quinnipiac Sports, check out our website at q30television.com. Brian, so we just saw the men's ice hockey team in a weekday game That weekend, though, they did go up to Boston University. I went to the game. Let's check out the tape of that. Up at Agganis Arena, up again in Boston, where I am close to from. I was at this game along with the rest of the Q30 men's ice hockey beat reporters. Fans before this game going absolutely nuts. We'll show you that in just a moment, Brian. The atmosphere was electric inside of this rink. This man right here, the BU fans call him Sasquatch, takes off his shirt and goes in the BU fan section. He loves it. He is just a diehard Boston University fan. Here's the action, though. Jordan Greenway between the legs to JFK. Jacob Forsbacka Carlson gives it back to Greenway. Little dipsy-do in the high slot. He puts it back in the goal. 1-0 Boston University. We'll head to the second now. A 2-on-1 for BU. Patrick Harper over to Bobo Carpenter. Low hard far post, as they like to call it. He knocks the net off its moorings, but the goal does count. Still 2-0 Boston University. And take a look at this play. Empty net for the Bobcats. Connor Clifton, though, taken down. No call, though. JFK gets away with it. That's Forsbacka Carlson again. He scores on the empty net. Rand Pecknold absolutely livid at that call, but he did say in the post-game press conference he had no comment on that last play. Also, we do have a little bit of an update on the men's ice hockey USCHO polls. Brian, the Quinnipiac men come in at number 6 this week. That is dropping 2 spots from number 4 last week. North Dakota gets all 50 first-place votes. They take the number 1 spot, followed by Minnesota Duluth at 2, Denver at 3. The Terriers, the team the Bobcats just played, they come in at 4. UMass Lowell rounding out the top 5, and as I said before, the Bobcats at number 6. Our fall sports aren't over yet, though. When we return, women's soccer analyst Chris Stacey is on the way to discuss the team's recent loss to Siena and its tournament chances.
And of course, it's our favorite time of the show, the Top 5 Plays presented by B&D Deli. Don't move a muscle. Sports Paws will be right back.
Freshmen this year have stepped in and really just eliminated that problem, doing the right plays at the right time.
I mean, it certainly seems like an uphill battle for this team, but Tricia Fabi is one of the best coaches at this university.
The Bobcats hosting Arizona State. We'll start with this power play.
But she's strong. Good Lord, I saw her lifting one time. She could squat 3 of me. Like,
Oh, well, 7 of me then.
Good evening and welcome to Sports Paws.
In the end, we're here to win the championship this year. Jess Fontaine now has that. She's going to take a ripper off the post, but she's going to come back.
And my number 1, hold your applause, Bobcats fans, is Quinnipiac.
All right, Victoria, you know what time it is? It's top 5 plays of the week.
My favorite time.
I could really go for a Ray and Mike sub right now.
Come to Ray and Mike's and try our Philly chicken and cheese for just over $4. Giant cheesesteak subs and mouth-watering boar's head sandwiches for as low as $4.75. Q-Cash accepted just a mile down the road on Whitney, here at Ray and Mike's.
Welcome back to Sports Paws. The first place men's soccer team hosted Siena on Wednesday. Let's see what happened. We'll take you right out to the highlights now. It's men's soccer against second place Siena. Their first game without captain James Doig for Quinnipiac. A big loss for them. Quinnipiac, we saw in this game. We're going to check out the highlights as soon as we can. There's James Doig, the captain.
He's got that right shoulder injury, Brian. Doesn't look like he'll be back for much of this season.
Let's take it right into the first half. It's Rashawn Dolly driving up the field, getting past defenders, and he snipes one past the goalie. That gives Quinnipiac a 1-0 lead. The assist was from Ryan Scheiderman. Now, still in the first half, we're going to see Siena coming up on the right on the field, and they're able to pass it in front of the goal, and Alexander Tahara tips it in for the score. That ties the game at 1. Now we move to the second half, and it's Phyllis Mar Cordiero He gets hit. That draws the PK. Quinnipiac would go up 2-1. Still in the second half, it's Eamon Whalen, the freshman sensation, and he connects on his second PK of the day. His 10th goal of the season gives Quinnipiac a 3-1 lead, and Quinnipiac would hold on to win by that score, though things got a little bit chippy at the end. They won 3-2 and retain first place in the MAC.
That's right, Brian. While the men's team was hosting Siena, the women's team traveled to upstate New York to take on the Saints. 1 goal in the first half and 1 in the early second were enough for the Saints to defeat the Bobcats. With the loss, Quinnipiac falls to 5-4 in the conference, and Siena improves to 7-2. Dave Clark's squad ends their season at home for St. Peter's, the worst team in the MAC, who have not won a conference game this season. The Bobcats have a playoff spot locked up, but will find the 4, 5, or 6 seed depending on results across the league. The number 4 seed earns a home field advantage in the first round. Fortunately for the Bobcats, Quinnipiac boasts a 7-0 record at home this season, the only team in the MAC to do so this year. Well, Brian, I think it's just about that time, what most people have been waiting for. We got our women's soccer analyst, Chris Stacy, in studio. Chris, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So, Chris, we'll just jump right to the meat and bones, if you will, of this women's soccer team. So, they've been struggling a little bit at the end of games, and we've seen that throughout as a recurring trend throughout the year. Do you think that this is on the players, is this on the coach, or is there a mixture of both? What do you think?
I'm going to have to say it's a mixture of both, MJ. Listen, I was at the Iona game, another game that they struggled at. They went up 3-0 early in the second half, and then it's like this team just gave up in the last 20 minutes, I have to say. They did put in subs to get their starters some rest. The starters cannot play 90 minutes, and the subs just weren't coming in, weren't giving an energy spark off the bench. They weren't getting the same amount of, or the same level of play as the starters, And I also got to put that on Coach Dave Clark. He's got to be smarter than that. I mean, he has to have his players ready to go in at a crucial game. Like every MAC game is a crucial game. And if you don't have your players ready, especially your subs, that's just it's not going to prove good for you going forward, especially in the MAC tournament.
And Chris, what does this team need to do to start to finish out games better?
Well, obviously, this team has to play 2 full halves of soccer. Obviously, their starters have been pretty solid. You have Nadia Gill, Jess Fontaine. They've been great on the offensive side of the ball. Nadia Gill creating great opportunities with her speed. She's been creating great opportunities with her speed, and that she cannot be doing that the entire game. She can't be playing the whole entire minutes. She tires out after these chances and everything, these runs she has. So she's gonna need some subs to break to give her a break for these subs. And these subs that have been coming in just haven't been getting the job done. They haven't been playing up to the level of Nadia Gill or even better. They just have been, I would have to say, disappointment so far going towards the end of the season, going into MAC play, the MAC tournament.
Well, Chris, you just talked about how these starters are playing so well, but not so much on the subs. So how far can this team really go in the postseason if their subs aren't going to be playing up to par?
Well, it really all depends on this last game I see. They're playing St. Peter's. They have not won a game in the conference. Like you said, I see them winning this game definitely. And I see them winning this game definitely. So they will stay in the 5th seed if, to me. Everyone else, Marist also has to play Niagara, bottom of the conference, so they will stay. I think that Marist will stay 4th, Quinnipiac will stay 5th, so that means Quinnipiac will have to travel to Marist, I feel like. And let me tell you, Quinnipiac 2-6-1 on the road, that's not going to get it done, especially in MAC tournament time. It's playoff time. Both teams are going to be stepping it up. Marist is going to step up. Quinnipiac did beat Marist in their home game, but like I said, they're going on the road. It's playoff time. Marist is going to step up. I just don't think Quinnipiac, with the sub play right now, can step up.
Thank you, Chris, for that fantastic insight. Now we're going to take it to the men's tennis team who played in their ITA Northeast Regional Saturday at the University of Pennsylvania. Kei Azaka and Freddie Zaretsky were still alive in the tournament, looking to advance to the 3rd round. Zaretsky lost to Colombia's Adam Abrovsky in 3 sets. Azeka advanced to the 4th round because of an injury to his opponent, but lost to Hao Shung Choi of Buffalo in 2 sets. The tennis team wraps up their season against Bryant next Sunday. Rachel Horton of the Quinnipiac women's tennis team faced Jessica Livanou of St. John's in her 2nd round match at the ITA Northeastern Regional at Yale on Saturday. Horton lost the match in 2 sets The Bobcats will have 3 months off before beginning their off-season play January 28th against UMass.
The Quinnipiac men's cross-country team, they travel to Central Connecticut State University for the mini-meet, they call it, at the Stanley Quarter Park on Friday. The Bobcats sat out their top 7 runners with the championship meet next week, fitting, allowing opportunities for runners that don't normally run. Senior Kyle Liang led all Bobcats, finishing 44th out of 117 runners. The Bobcats placed 11th out of 16 teams at the event. After the competition, the 4 members of the senior class were honored for their accomplishments. The Bobcats travel to the Worldwide of Sports in Florida this Saturday for the conference championship. And as for the women, more of the same. They too traveled to the Stanley Quarter Park in Central Connecticut State, and they finished 12th out of 16 teams. Underclassmen dominated for Quinnipiac, with Sarah Wilcox finishing 40th out of 127 runners. After the meet, head coach Carolyn Martin honored members of the senior class for their accomplishments in their 4 years as Bobcats. Next up for Quinnipiac, the MAC Championships, once again at the Worldwide of Sports in Florida this Saturday, October 29th. Just like the men, Bobcats fans can catch this meet live on ESPN3 starting at 9 a.m. Over 3 days in a car, 77 hours to be exact, or 13 hours on a plane. The only way to get to Alaska. Grace Manthe is a native of Alaska, South Anchorage to be exact. Q30's Drew Feinberg sits down with Quinnipiac's acrobatics and tumbling base to talk about her life adjustments some 4,500 miles across the nation.
Drew Feinberg here sitting down with Grace Manthe from the acrobatics and tumbling team. Grace, thank you for joining me.
No problem.
Grace, you come all the way from Anchorage, Alaska. Coming to QU, what is the adjustment like coming all the way cross-continent? And I know it's still the United States, but cross-continent, what's it like?
Well, the first year was definitely really hard just because I wasn't used to being so far from home for so long. And the other thing is I don't get to go home that often. Like a lot of people around here go home like, you know, every other week, not every other weekend, but, you know, more often than I do. I get to go home like 2 times per year and then the summer. And it was definitely an adjustment, but, you know, it's worth it. So.
Like, I know it's still the United States, obviously, but culturally, like, is anything different from where you live here? Like, the people in general, like, people act different, say, like slogans or, like, lingo or anything different?
I mean, I guess the biggest thing is in Alaska, it's called a snow machine and not a snowmobile.
Okay.
And everybody always looks at me so weird, but I'm like, trust me, like, if you went to Alaska and you called it a snowmobile, people would look at you like you were crazy.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, that's like the biggest thing. I mean, the good thing about here, especially like this school, it's just a small school and it's like a community, and that's kind of why I liked it, because that's kind of how it is in Anchorage too. Like, everyone's really nice for the most part. So.
Yeah. Rumor has it, do you drive from home down here? Like,
No.
immediately you don't?
No, I actually have a car this year. This is the first year I've had a car. And I actually thought about driving my car from, I don't think I would drive it from Alaska. Someday in my life I want to.
Yeah.
If I was going to drive it, I would like ship it to Seattle and then drive it.
So that's quite the haul from
Yeah,
from
but
Alaska.
I mean, I know people who have done it, who've driven like either way, like through Canada, and I want to do it someday. But my mom didn't want me to do it with my car because she didn't want it to like die.
How long is it's probably like what, 4,000 to 5,000 miles, something like that?
I don't even know. I know it would take
A few days at least.
I mean, if it would take a few days, like it takes, I think, 2 days to get from here to Seattle without stopping.
Wow, okay.
Like almost 2 days without, and you would have to stop. So it would take probably to get all the way to Alaska from here. It would probably take about like, you know, with stopping and eating and stuff, it would probably take about like a week or 2.
MJ, it is time for our favorite part of the show. It's the top 5 plays of the week, brought to you by B&D Deli, home of the Q-Dog.
That's right, home of the Quinnipiac Panini and the Q-Dog sub. Brian, I will start with number 5. We've seen this play once before. Boston College's Tony Ann Miano. She scores from her knees, or almost from her knees. She celebrates on her knees. BC goes on to beat Quinnipiac 4-1.
Number 4, it's Thomas Aldworth of the men's hockey team as he drives to the net, back around, and scores that wraparound goal. Quinnipiac would go on to win 5-2. More from this game later.
We'll take it to play number 3 now. We see in this one, Rashawn Dolly. A lot of power from this kid coming down the left side. He uses that right foot, though, and goes top right corner of the net. Quinnipiac beats Siena 3-2.
The number 2 play of the week is Brogan Rafferty's goal against UConn as he dangles past the UConn goalie to score. Quinnipiac wins 5-2, and MJ, we're still not done with that game.
That's right. We're going back to men's hockey for the number 1 play of the week. Craig Martin, little dipsy-do in front. He's fallen down, finally picks the puck up, puts it top shelf. Quinnipiac wins the game 5-2. 3 top 5 plays from that Quinnipiac versus UConn game, Brian. Very impressive.
Really impressive game.
Well, Brian, another 30 minutes in the books means another episode of Sports Paws comes to a close. Your first time on the desk tonight, I'm pleasure to be the one beside you. For more information, follow us on Twitter at Q30Sports and check out our website at Q30television.com.
Thanks, MJ. It was a lot of fun tonight. For everyone behind the scenes, our entire production staff, and MJ Baird, I'm Brian Schwartz. Put it in the books.